Orchot Tzadikim, Shar Busha, gate of shame.
Today, does that exist?
Right. People have no shame, they say, right?
No shame.
Our sages say, Hasechel hu aboshet. Ve'aboshet hu hasechel. What does that mean? Intellect is shame, and shame is intellect. What do we see in the Torah right away? And Adam and Chava, they got intellect by eating the fruit. What's the first thing they realized? That they were naked. So right away they felt shame. Shame is a sign of intellect. If you feel shameful of what you're doing, it means you're aware of what you're doing. If you feel no shame, that means you're not aware. You don't even know what you're doing. You have no intellect of what you're doing. Right? Modesty. Modesty. What's modesty? Modesty is a lady should feel like, I have to be covered up. I can't be revealed. And a lady who feels that it's okay, well, what? Show off. Who cares? It shows that they're missing the understanding of the intellect, the understanding of what it means to be covered up. People think covered up is, I have to be hidden. And the Torah wants us, the only men to be successful, a woman to be in the sweatshops and behind the scenes, right? No, the Torah wants the woman to be known as great people, not as great objects, right? Because if you just reveal everything, people look at you as an object. The guy sees, you see this great horse. Look at that horse, psh, beautiful horse. Wow. Psh. He said, no, that's not nothing. This horse, even better. You see this, it's a charosh piece of meat. Wow, psh, it's a charosh steak. And no, this is nothing. You should go here. See this one. Look at the marbling. Wow, psh, amazing. So Chas v'Shalom, people could do the same thing to ladies. Look at them as a piece of meat. Why? Because they present themselves only as beauty. The Torah says, no, cover it up. If someone wants to know you, they have to know you as a person. They have to know you as a personality. They have to know you as the great things you do, not just because of the way you look.
Because men compared to dogs.
And the Torah says, give the meat to the dogs, right? The terefa you give to the dogs, right? So the point is though that if you understand the meaning behind it, then you have the shame. If you don't understand the meaning, you don't understand what's the point of modesty. So therefore, the animals, Baalei Chaim, they don't have busha, especially the dog, right? The dog was one of the animals that was procreating in the ark, and he wasn't supposed to. So God cursed him that he procreates in public. He has no shame. He makes in public, number one, number two, and he has no shame, right? So he says that being the quality of wisdom so great, it needs its friend. Quality of wisdom always needs its friend. What's its friend? Busha. It's shame, right? People who lack knowledge, therefore lack shame. So you can tell who a person is right away. A guy acts borza. He doesn't. You know, even when you talk to somebody, right? He's your friend, right? So let's say you want to talk to him about why did he come late to shul, right? So there's two ways to do it. You say, listen, you slept well last night. Everything's okay. I wanted to know how you're doing, whatever. And then there's a guy who says, you slept good, huh? To Zaparol, you know? This kind of stuff, right? So this in a way, no, that's friendly. But I'm talking about a guy who you have no connection to, right? Yeah. So over there, you just have no shame to talk. You just met the guy a few minutes ago. How are you talking to him like that, right? So you have no shame, right? So a guy goes to another guy in shul. You know, this is my seat. What are you doing in my seat? He has no shame to talk to a new guest, just like he just came. He doesn't know anything. What do you want from him? No shame. It's a sign of lower intellect, much lower intellect. You could tell who the person is already from how he talks, from the way he conducts it. There's some people who don't want to bother anybody. They're ashamed to ask somebody for a favor. They don't want to bother anybody. I'd rather go upstairs 10 times myself than to bother somebody, right? And other people, давай, сделай кофе. Давай, принеси молоко.
Rabbi, can you make coffee for me?
It shows the level of the intellect of the person, right? He says, "Midat busha egeder gadol mechitzat barzel lifnei kol ha'averot." He says the trait of shame is a great fence, iron barrier against all sins. Why? Because the Gemara says, whoever does a sin in private, Hashem is going to reveal what he did in public. So therefore, a guy says, should I do this sin? No, I can't do this sin. Why? Because everybody's going to find out about it. Everyone's going to find out about it? No, I can't. But if you don't have shame, what does he say? And so what? So what? Everybody's going to find out about it. Everybody will forget about it the next day, and then we'll move on like nothing happened. You know how many times the people got caught doing inappropriate things or horrible things, And then a few weeks later, people forget about it. People forget about everything in the news. They have a short-term memory, and then the guys, in politicians, could be they did something horrible a year ago, and they're already running again. They're running again like nothing happened. Make this place great again. I'm with you guys. I'm going to help you guys. And everybody's like, oh, okay. Right? And everybody just goes along with it. So he says, the highest form of shame is what? People have shame, but they have shame from other people, but they don't have shame in front of Hashem.
Beautiful.
That's the problem. And that's what Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai said to his students. He said, Rabbi, bless us before you die. What did he say? He says, I bless you that you should fear God like you fear man. They said, listen, Rabbi, that's it. That sounds pretty low. He said, no, if you have that, you're good. That's more than enough. Right? Because the guy, if he would steal in business in front of somebody else, he would go and you say in the street, this guy's a ganav, this guy's a this. He would be so ashamed. He would never do it, right? He always looks this way, that way. But he forgets to look this way. Right? Right? So we have to know that if we would fear of God like we fear a man, we would, 99% of the sins we would never do. And the problem is that we don't think Hashem's there. We don't think Hashem sees. And we have to realize that the Chassid in the story, right? The wagon driver is driving the wagon. He says to him, I'm going to stop for a second. Let me grab an apple. He says, why? I didn't know you have an apple tree over here. He says, no, tell me if anybody's looking. He goes to grab it. He says, somebody's looking. Where? I don't see him. Somebody's looking. Where? I don't see him. Hashem's looking. But people think, nobody's here. It's okay. So therefore, we should be socheh to have shame like we have of other people. He says, איך יתבייש ממי שהקדוש ברוך הוא נעלם מעיני כל חי, אך הוא נמצא לבון נגנה מחשבות. You think you hide from Hashem? Hashem sees everything in the world and He knows our heart. And the sages say, אם נזהרת כל ימיך שלא חטאת, אל תחזיק טובה לעצמך. If you didn't sin all your life, don't pat yourself on the back. Because look at Yochanan Kohen Gadol. 80 years he was going to the Beit HaMikdash. In the end, he sinned. Why? Could be he never sinned because he was always in front of people. The second that he was not around people, he felt his Yetzer Hara because he didn't have, maybe you could say he didn't have Busha of Hashem. He only had Busha of people. That's why we said yesterday that the Satmar Rebbe, right? He said to the Badchen, he said, maybe I'm pretending to be myself, and I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just pretending, right? So therefore he says one has to be very careful. לעלות על ליבו בעת עזבו העבירות, שלא יעזבן מחמד בושה בני אדם. He only has בושה בני אדם, he doesn't have בושה from הקדוש ברוך הוא, חס ושלום. לכן צריך אדם לעשות ראשון לכל ראשונים, שידע את יוצרו ויכיר כוחו. יראת שמיים, it's not יראת people, יראת שמיים, יראת of Hashem. Therefore he says, דבר ידוע ברור, שכל העולם עושים עניינים רבים בסתר. We all know people do very, very hidden stuff, and they think nobody sees, and Hashem sees the door within the door. The Gemara says that if you don't have Yard Shamayim, it's like you don't have the key to the gate. You have the key to the house, but you don't have the key to the gate. How are you going to get in? So you know a lot of Torah, you know a lot of Kabbalah, you know a lot of Parashah, you know a lot of Halakha, you know a lot of Gemara. But you don't have Yard Shamayim. So how are you going to get into the house? You can't even open the gate. You're not going to keep nothing because you don't have Yirat Shamayim. And what do? Worse, you fear people, you don't fear Hashem. Hashem says, what do you mean? How can you fear them? If you fear them, so fear me. If you don't fear me, so why you fear them? That's why the Ganav who steals in public, he gets a less punishment than the guy who steals in private. The guy who steals in private gets caught, he has to pay 4 or 5 times. But the guy who steals in public, he just has to pay back what he stole. That's it. Why? Because this guy, he had busha from people and not from Hashem. Hashem says, Opa, you get punished more. The Ganav, okay, the Gazlan, he gets steals in public. Okay, he has no busha for nobody. Okay, that's wrong, but we got to fix that. But the guy, you have busha. You're embarrassed to steal in public. So have busha from Hashem. Why you have busha from Hashem? So you don't really believe it's true. You don't believe the Torah is true. You don't have real emunah. You have almost there. You have halfway there. You're not fully there. Number 1, he says 4 levels of shame. He says the person who's ashamed to do a sin in public, but in private he steals. The next one is he's afraid to do sins even in private. But if nobody would find out, because he thinks the people will find out, if nobody will find out, so then he's okay doing it. Right? And number 3 is he thinks, how can I do this evil and be ashamed in front of Hashem? You think I could trick Hashem? Number 4, The highest level is ashamed both in public and private, and he's ashamed before Hashem as he is before his neighbor. That's the Yosef Tzaddik, right? What did he see? He saw the vision of his father, and he didn't do the sin. We have to feel like that Hashem is always here. And imagine your father would be here. Someone who you respect so much. Your grandfather would be here. He would look at you. It's not because your grandfather would beat you up. As your grandfather look at you and be like, are you serious? This is what you do? This is what I raised you to do? This is what I brought you here to do? You're going to do this? You disappoint me like that? That's how we have to feel when Hashem sees us. Baruch Adonai.